Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for that little advertisement there. Welcome to Becoming Quantum Conscious. My name is Bart Sharp, and you are on United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7 and 103.5, broadcasting also FM, broadcasting out of the beautiful city of New Orleans, Louisiana, but also on Roku, Facebook, YouTube, and the uprntalkradio.com website. We're everywhere. Invite you to check out my YouTube page at Bart Sharp on YouTube, of course. And it's really good to be here today. We're kind of in the Western United States today. I'm Texas, and my guest, Dana Micucci, is Taos, New Mexico. Welcome to the show, Dana.
Thank you, Bart. It's so nice to be here. I'm excited for our conversation.
Yeah, and you'll tell him where we're going to go. Just to give you a little bit about Dana, though, upon turning, this is Dana Micucci, upon returning from Paris as a younger woman, she landed in New York City. She became a senior publicist at Christie's, but also wrote articles on a variety of magazines, New York Times, International Herald Tribune, Chicago Tribune, Architectural Digest, Town and Country, and more. And in that process was writing books. One of her books, The Woman's Journey Around the World, The Third Muse, and then your latest book, which I just love this title. I just kind of feel this one in my bones. Like, yeah, this is the kind of guy I could relate to when I see this title. It's like, whoa. Title is, drum roll, The Years of Living Dangerously, Lessons from the Front Lines of a 21st Century Light Worker, which reveals the miracles, tests, and transformations that shaped your journey and serves as a supportive spiritual roadmap during the times of intense planetary transformations. So you can find out more information at www.danamicucci.com. It's such a great title. You just feel like sounds like a book that you just had to write.
Yes, it's true, Bart. Yes, I had to write it. I felt a sense of urgency. And it's really, about my journeys around the world to sacred sites and leading groups to these sacred sites. And like you said, all of the miracles, transformations, and especially the initiations that happened to me along the way. So I felt that other people who go out there, to these sacred sites and love the benefits they receive could identify.
Yes. And it's so much about, in these days and ages, people are always looking for beyond.
Yes.
And that describes, like, you could be a race car driver, or you could say, no, I want to see what it's like to be in the stars. I want to see a flying saucer. I want to go beyond. And yet, sacred sites seem to take you to some of those places, or a stepping stone for that.
Yes, that is so true. And this quest for the beyond, I think, is, beyond our daily what we call the 3D paradigm, that
Mm-hmm.
we know, our souls know there is something more. And part of that is, I feel, this universal yearning to quest, to search for a more authentic, sacred experience in life, a more authentic, sacred expression of yourself,
So true. And here's a woman that lived in Paris, went to New York. You worked there for 30 years,
And
or
yeah, almost,
20 years, excuse.
almost, no,
Felt
almost.
like 30, but it was really
It's
20.
more than 20. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so it's enough.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And then you moved to Taos, New Mexico, which, if
Right.
anybody wants to know where the heck that is, it's in northern New Mexico. It is a mixture of American Indian, Hispanic, and white people all living in a very mystical based area. Good description?
Yes, that's a great description. Yes, and it's attracted, mystics, artists, healers, writers. It has a big cultural history for a small town. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah.
the energy is palpable. It is said
Mm.
that there is a shaman behind every rock here.
You better watch out. Let me heal you,
You
honey.
better watch out. Right. Yes.
So what brought you to go there? What's you go from, a very masculine driven achievers, New York City. How's it changed you from that?
Yes, that's such a good question, Bart. Well, I feel like my soul was longing, I was on a spiritual path in the middle of all the chaos of New York City and being a freelance journalist, writing books. And yet I wanted to be closer to the earth. I wanted to become more connected with my feminine side. Because like you said, it's more of a masculine energy to succeed in a place like that. And so I had been coming to Taos, New Mexico, northern New Mexico, for about 15 years before I moved here, almost every year.
Mm. Wow.
And I would find excuses to get back. So I feel like it was something in my blood, maybe a past life. I felt very connected to the Native American wisdom. And
Mm.
it's a place for me, it was a place to center and be more in my body and be more at peace. And that's
Mm.
facilitated my creative work.
Wow. Wow.
Mhm.
In the path of Georgia O'Keeffe.
Well, I understand
Uh,
why she came. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. Because she and her husband, Alfred Stieglitz, they were from New York City. And once she came
Right.
out here, she never looked back. And it said that he never visited her here. He was such a New Yorker. So she had to, she was here, but then maybe she made a few visits, but she was so in love with this land. And it's hard to describe, Bart. It's it's an energy that is extremely enlivening and grounding at the same time.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, and so much about that catapults you into almost like an alternative identity, which is what a sacred site should do. I mean, you have the great Taos Mountain there.
Right.
I've always
Right.
heard that it hums. Can I confirm that? I heard that there's a humming coming out of that mountain.
Well, there are legends of the Taos hum. I'm not sure that it comes from the mountain. Nobody really knows, but it could.
Mm.
It could come from the mountain, because if we want to take a further step beyond, we could say that there are beings living inside the mountain, descendants of ancient Lemurians, just like
Mm.
underneath Mount Shasta, the whole civilization allegedly
Right,
called
right.
relates, right?
Hmm.
So
Right, right.
I do feel in my connections with the mountain. I used to go and pay my respects every night when I first moved here, and I feel that there are beings, that connect in the inner Earth Agartha network with other inner Earth cities. So it could be from that. Mm-hmm.
I'm intrigued with that and believe you, because there are so many worlds within this earth, so many things happening that we get a
Right.
sense of. We might feel it. We even might use applied kinesiology and muscle tests and find information from our inner knowing that, yes, there is something going on there.
Yes. Yes, and the natives revered this area. They have the sacred blue lake that's way hidden in the mountains, and no
Whoa.
non-native is allowed to go. And I've been
Wow.
very drawn to that for some reason, but I can't go.
Oh, it's Pandora's box, I can tell you.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
oh, oh.
Yes. Yeah.
The blue lake.
The sacred blue lake. Oh my gosh. It is. It's a very mystical place. And I feel that in these sacred sites, if Taos is one of them, I mean, people could say, I mean, everything is sacred. And
Mm-hmm.
you could have a sacred site in your backyard. The key is to feel, what do you feel when you're in
Yeah.
these sites, right? And not
Right. Right.
think, like drop out of your head and into your heart. What does your body feel? Are there any sensations? You could be in your backyard, be standing on a vortex.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And any advice to anybody that says, I'd like to feel that?
Yes,
Uh,
excellent.
give us some directions.
Right. Well, when I started traveling a long time ago, when I was a journalist in New York and would get assignments that would take me to these sacred sites, and I'd have to
Oh,
convince my editors. I'm sure there's a story in Bali, Mark. I know there's. So I, I worked my way around the world. And even though I was writing about art and culture and travel, so much more Bart was happening inside of me. And,
mm-hmm.
all of those like energy rushes, or the hot and the cold, or the buzzing and the tingling. And anyway, then I started to chart my inner journey at these sites. And I noticed that to be open to receive the gifts of the sacred sites, whether it's the Great Pyramid in Egypt, or Machu Picchu, or Angkor in Cambodia, wherever you are, the great cathedrals of Europe, uh, is to go with an open heart, to be free of distraction, to really center, and whatever practice you have to ground and center yourself, and to enter with intention, in a
Mm-hmm.
spirit of reverence. And
Mm.
sometimes there are guardians, like spirit guardians at all these sites,
Mm-hmm.
and so I will ask permission, may I enter here? Or you could say a prayer or a blessing, or leave an offering. But I feel I've noticed, for me, when I'm most open, it's when my attention is at my heart center and I'm not caught up, in those raging thoughts of the monkey mind.
Yeah. As they say in real estate, location, location, location. And we
Right.
could say it in the metaphysics,
Yeah.
intention, intention, intention. They kind of
Yeah.
match location. But when you're located in your heart, good things happen.
That's right. And you're more present. I noticed when I was more present, and, when you're younger, that's not as easy to be as present. After you've been through the school of hard knocks, you learn to be a little more present, as you get older. But
Yes.
just being present brought me into my body, into my heart, and meaning that my thoughts weren't going into the future, or worries about the past, or anxieties about the future. I was just there. And sacred sites can help you be more present, because it's different, and you're an adventurer, and you're curious, and you're out of the familiar. And I found that when I was present in the way that I described, so many magical things happen. Synchronicities. I'd have a thought, it would manifest instantly, or somebody would show up and say, "Oh, I can take you to meet so and so." And that was the exact person, right, that I had to meet or interview. So all of that speeds up a lot when you're in
Yes,
that altered state.
it does. And a word that you haven't said, but hopefully it's going to make you jump to the next response: magnification.
Yes. Yes. Magnification. Everything, all the energies are amplified and magnified at the sacred sites because all of these sacred sites are at the intersection of ley lines that crisscross the earth. And they were intentionally built at these powerful, we could call them energetic vortices at the intersection of the ley lines to raise the vibration of everyone who comes in contact with them. The ancients knew this. Yeah.
Indeed. Any theories on the ancients, who they were?
I feel maybe just, well, we have the Druids, for example, the Druid priests and priestesses from the ancient Celts in the UK and that area. And the ancients could be from other dimensions and other star systems. I feel that, going back to the Great Pyramid of Egypt, when you look at it in person, how could humans lift those stones? It seems impossible.
I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you, by the way.
Yeah, right. So it's like we had to have help from our star families. I don't like the word ET. Star families, who were skilled in sound vibration and anti-gravity technology and like raising these stones. Who knows, with lasers, with toning, with sounds. And I feel that's how the stone circles were created as well.
Yeah, I totally get it. And one of the thoughts that I came to me through a friend of mine, Penny Loftus, was, if you're around somebody like Yeshua or Buddha or something, your vibration would be raised. Even if you're around the Dalai Lama, your vibration be raised in their presence. So star families would likely do the same thing. And a lot of our talents and abilities would jump, which tells us that we still have it in our DNA.
Yes. I think that is very true. Yes, it's in our DNA. It's so, excuse me, so much I feel of what we experience and what we learn, we already know. It's in our memory. It's in our genetic memory. So the sites are like keys unlocking these ancient memories, right? From multiple lifetimes, from star heritages. And it's so, to put all of this into words is challenging because, like you said, it's beyond this, what we perceive as quote real is very small. That's how we perceive it, as small and contracted, whereas we're so vast.
Yeah, that junk DNA in the brain is not junk.
No, it's not junk. That's so true. That's so true. And I do feel now, I don't know if there have been scientific studies. I do feel that the sacred sites alter your DNA. I think there have been studies with crop circles, actually, which are man-made.
Really?
Oh, and I'm sorry, they're not man-made. They're made by our star beings.
Yeah.
They're not man-made. I didn't mean to
Let's
say
make that clear.
No,
You're gonna make a lot of people mad here on my show.
They're made by the star beings, but people debunk them saying they're man-made because, the truth is too hard for some people to acknowledge, to integrate,
Yep.
And so I do feel, that's a sacred geometry in a crop circle. The Great Pyramid,
Definitely.
Sacred geometry. Same with Angkor, same with the Notre Dame, or all of these amazing, Machu Picchu, amazing, the Mayan pyramids, all built according to sacred geometry, which when you enter them, your DNA exchanges information with the geometry of the site, because our DNA is geometry. So exchanging that information, for me, I would feel that it would have to raise your frequency, right?
So just to refresh here, whenever you go to one of these places, the geometry in your DNA expands the moment that you go into these sacred sites, and
Hmm.
some of them are quite obvious, made out of sacred geometry.
Right.
Some of them probably aren't. I'm thinking the ones I see in France.
Yeah.
However, it happens.
Right.
Can you give anybody advice on how to maximize that potential experience to changing your entire life?
That's what sacred sites can do. And I've seen it in my clients. I've felt it myself. How to maximize again is just going back to, being open and childlike, being in your
Mm,
joy. Children are so open to receive. They're not placing all these judgments and perceptions on things. We just want to be open, like just an open vessel without any expectation, I think is key to receive what these sites have to offer. And yes, a lot of them are natural. And again, that's likely if you feel something in your body, it's likely that they are at the intersection of two electromagnetic ley lines or more. Uh,
mm,
some sites have many coming in and out of them, which are
yeah.
energy highways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally agree with you that they're out there. Also, I mean, when I talk, a friend of mine who's Apache medicine woman,
Yes.
she constantly reminds me, Indians don't worship Jesus. And I'm going, fair enough. I don't care. Great.
Right.
What do you worship? You know, because I never really heard it from the mouth of a bona fide, genuine American Indian. She said, we worship the star people. And I just wonder how many planetary alignments, star alignments have that same sacred geometry that we can tune into. Anything you experience on those bright, starry nights that you probably have almost every night in Taos, New Mexico?
Yes. Yes. That's such a good point, Bart. And I feel the ancients were already tuned into that because they built a lot of their sacred sites to align with the cosmos, the constellations, and, celestial events like the equinoxes and solstices. And then they would have names for natural features like the
Hmm.
Urubamba River through the Sacred Valley of Peru is supposed to mirror the Milky Way. You
Hmm.
And so that's for the ancient Andean peoples. It's the Milky Way on the earth is the river. And so I love the connection, between above and below that the
Yes.
ancients naturally were tuned into and lived really, you know, on a day-to-day basis.
So do you go out and watch the stars at night?
Yes, when I can. I don't always have an opportunity. Yes, when I can. And sometimes we're driving late at night, and whoa, I mean, one night the moon was so massive, Bart. It looked like something out of a sci-fi movie. I've never seen
Hmm.
a moon that huge. But yes, we do have. There's a big thing here about preserving the night skies and turning down the lights on the porch, and just so we can have that connection with the stars. And we don't get that as in cities. You never really see a star in a city like New
We,
York.
we really don't.
No,
And preserving the light, because light, of course, doesn't stop once
no.
it's turned on. We think that when we turn the switches off of our light bulbs that that's it, but that's not true. Much like star particular energy, or the poetic name stardust.
Yes. And we are
They,
all stardust, right? So,
mm-hmm,
of course, we would be
mm-hmm,
influenced by the stars. And some of the
yeah,
ancients, like the Maya, were master astronomers, And remember, they had these very, very complex calendars that were
yes.
connected to all the alignments of the planets. And I mean, it was so cosmic. And wow, what happened along the way that somehow in modern life we've lost a lot of that connection. And
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's the appeal of sacred sites, is that.
It is a return. I don't think we're going to have to create another Mayan calendar.
Right.
We're going to create a different way of doing that. However, I think we both concur that this energy can spark a different form of imagination.
Oh, yes. Yes. And
Yeah.
openness on all levels. It can shift our perception. It can activate our psychic abilities, right? Bring
Mm,
more of our God-given gifts online, bring us into greater alignment with our true divine power and essence.
yeah, yeah. Uh, anything you feel like it's changed you?
Yes, yes, Bart. I really feel, and I write about that. I started writing about that in my book, Sojourns of the Soul, One Woman's Journey Around the World and Into Her Truth. And that was when I was much younger. And when I started, it chronicles a 14-year period in my life from age 33 to what would that be, 47. And so many, and then I take it to another level with this new book, The Years of Living Dangerously. But uh, yes, I would say, how did I change? I became more present. I became less attached to any outcomes. Again, we're all works in progress. I still have
Mhm.
work to do on myself like everybody else, but I do feel that it raised my frequency in the sense that things didn't bother me as much, let's say, if they, quote, went wrong, or I felt in the sense of being more present, like more open to just spontaneous, casual meetings with people, of, really getting to know them, and not to, like you said earlier, not to have an agenda, because my
Mm,
agenda doesn't ultimately matter. It's
mm,
spirit's agenda, right? And to
yeah.
simply step in to this divine, effortless flow that, like I said earlier, delivers you to exactly what you need when you need it, with almost no work on your part.
Yeah. It's the heart, the body,
Yes,
having a space of consciousness
right,
that that works for you because you've activated it, you've tuned it in.
right. And part of that too, I think, with the heart, thanks for reminding me, is a trust. Yeah, I feel like your trust grows. Mine did. Trust in, yes, not only myself and others, but especially in spirit God, and in the divine intelligence, the higher guiding force that I say is always conspiring on our behalf, no matter what happens. Hard as that may be to to accept, but I feel that trust increases. So there's this act of surrender, of letting go, of not this clinging, an inner spaciousness around the heart. And what happens is then you can love more fully. Your love expands. The heart is always expanding infinitely. But you could tune into those higher frequencies of high heart love and universal unity consciousness, glimpses, and
Hmm.
sometimes it's transient, but the more we go, the more we can learn how to sustain those states of being. And also in our own daily life, you don't have to travel to Cambodia or, to Egypt. You could be present walking through a forest, and with those same qualities of inviting in and opening,
I,
to
I, to,
to
I totally agree with you. Of course, I spent half of my life in France and half of it in Austin, Texas.
mm,
And funny, I don't travel to a lot of other places beyond that.
uh-huh.
Uh, and Austin is a very powerful town, but it doesn't have notable power spots.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to be something that is a combination of the people, the land, some other forms of chemistry,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a matter of if you're open with that heart and you or have that open space,
Mm-hmm.
you receive wherever you go.
Right. That's so true.
But power spots are great teachers to help you get to that open space.
Yes.
It's exactly what Mother wanted us to learn. Mother Nature, that is.
Yes. So
We
true.
were at we're at midpoint of the show, and you are listening to Dana Micucci at danamicucci.com. And my name is Bart Sharp, and this is Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network at 107.7, 103.5 FM out of New Orleans, Louisiana. And what kind of projects are you up to these days, Dana? What's on your agenda?
Well, I'm still taking groups to sacred sites, which I guess is, you can't get enough after a while. But I say that at some point, when our vibration is high enough, we'll realize ourselves as the sacred site moving through the world, and we won't have to go anywhere. Anyway, but I'm going.
What fun is that? Come on.
Well, that's not as much fun. I was going to say, so I will keep going, and I'm taking a group to Peru in October to Lake Titicaca, to Machu Picchu, the Aramamuru Gateway, the Sacred Valley, the Island of the Sun, Island of the Moon. And so I love Peru. I've been there a few times before, in Bolivia. And and this summer I do retreats, what I call Sacred Journey retreats in the U.S. And I'm taking a group to the Tetons, Grand Teton National Park in July, which is in the Ascended Master canon, supposedly the largest etheric retreat of the Ascended Masters in North America, at least, where they convene in the etheric realm. And Bart, I had so many miracles when I've taken groups in the past, so I think it will be my last time there.
But you've been there. You've been there several times, and
many times, yes.
So
the Tetons, there are lots of ley lines going in and out of them.
I want to talk about your book. However,
yeah,
can you share a little bit about what that's like to be in that? What is it? The vacation spot of the star people. In the Grand Tetons.
Grand Tetons.
Yeah, what's that like to be in that type of energy? I mean,
I was just telling a person who's coming on the retreat. She asked me that question. I said, it's like drinking liquid light. It's intoxicating in the best sense. Like you feel kind of floaty. You feel like you're just going to take off into the cosmos, and at the same time, very close to the earth, both. And it's so incredibly beautiful, like so many places on earth, that the beauty is almost too much to hold. It doesn't look real. It's ethereal, transcendent and ethereal.
Wow. So cool. Any other places in the Western United States? Because you're like right on the doorstep in Taos, New Mexico, to just springboard in a lot of directions. True. What other places you think are just awesome that people should check out?
I love Mount Shasta. You maybe you've been there. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah.
That's in you have?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. As you know, in Northern California, I call it the motherboard of sacred sites in the U.S. And there's a big ley line, a dragon line, supposedly 2 dragon lines that go around the earth. The feminine one is actually like this, and the masculine one is like this. It seems reversed, where the masculine one's like a cup. Anyway, this Shasta's on the it's on one of those dragon lines that comes all the way down through Palenque. It's on the masculine line, and through Lake Titicaca. So that's how powerful it is. Plus other ley lines that crisscross. And there is a theory that the earth has chakras like we do. With different. So Shasta is the root chakra of the earth. And that is like a magical fairy forest there, Bart, as you remember probably. And again, like so many sites, takes you right out through the crown, but also grounds you so much into your body, into this enlivening earth. The earth energy is profound. And if it's the
Mm.
root chakra of the planet, you know, you feel like you have roots. Your legs are roots like trees going right into the earth.
Wow.
Mhm.
And we were talking about this earlier because a lot of people want to be in the stars and think that all the answers are there.
Right.
And I see it as kind of a 3-point scheme, opening your heart, but also you had to connect your root energy, or your, like I like to call it, the space between your hips, because there's a lot of parts down there that are all one big working organism, but they
Yeah.
all three go together, and we have to do the things to prepare ourselves to have that trinity.
So true. Yes. Because it's easy. We were talking about this earlier where we get so excited to, connect with the stars, like you said, and then we can perfect our third eye and our crown at the expense of the lower chakras, the root, the
Yeah.
sacral. So important. Lake Titicaca is the sacral chakra of the earth, which feels to me like definitely a womb, the womb of creation there. And
Wow.
then up through the solar plexus. So to really, to master the higher chakras, we must first master the lower, and the heart center is right in the middle, right in the intersection point, the
So
unified point. Yeah.
it is. It's so big, and it can only get bigger and bigger. I
Mm-hmm.
really believe that 2026, particularly the summer of 2026, which we're right in the middle of it, um, is a place it's really good to stay in touch with your heart.
So true. Yes. Yes, the heart is the place of unity. It's where we access those. Well, Yeshua said, he talked about the eye of the needle. And for me, that's the Sacred Heart, which is that we must pass through, that we must master to even move on to the higher
Mm,
dimensions. And it's the seat of our Christ presence, you know?
wow. Any advice to listeners on how to develop it? What do you need to
Yes,
do?
yes. I would say and this may sound very prosaic, not, what shall we say, not anything cosmic, but to find and do what brings you joy as much as
Hmm.
possible. Being in your joy automatically brings you into your heart. To walk the earth, to feel every footfall on the earth, to spend time around the plants and the trees and absorb their phytonutrients. I love the trees. Like the Essenes called tree brother tree. And for the Essenes, Brother Tree connects us to the holy stream of life. And so, again, when we're in our bodies, we're in our hearts, and vice versa. And so, to just lean up against a tree, to rest all of your 7 main energy centers against the tree and feel yourself being that bridge between heaven and earth, which sacred sites help us to do, to really anchor in as that bridge, acupuncture needle, connecting heaven and earth within ourselves. And that happens through my experience. I feel that happens at the heart center, which is where all of the opposites that define our earthly experience, we live on a duality plane, they all integrate here at the heart. And that
Mm.
becomes our launching pad to our I am presence, and our launching pad for the ascension on our return path to spirit God. It so much for me is all about the heart center, Bart.
Ooh, I love that. And what you just said, the world of opposites.
Yes.
And just to expound an example of that, if you have a lot of repressed anger, or a lot of some repressed emotion that is deep in your gut, you're going to be thinking about it a lot. And so you have two opposite energies working
Right.
against you to take you out of your heart.
Yes,
Just
exactly.
for, just food for thought. And we do all kinds of things not to feel that whole dynamics. which
That's right.
takes you out of your heart, folks.
It does. That I call it that the pendulum swing of emotion. It's like
Yeah.
this. So we want to, yes, people say, well, we need emotions. And yes, they give us information and that's great, but to allow them to pass through us, to take the wisdom and then not attach to the emotion. So that pendulum can get slower and slower and come to the still point at the heart center, which is when
Yes.
you're aligned with all of the other chakras, including your I am presence.
So true. And even whatever is happening in the world that makes you afraid, if this is a still point, you have a power beyond the problems of the world. And therefore you're contributing for the progression of the planet changing.
Yes. So
Welcome
true.
to 2026, folks. That's
Right.
my message. I'm sticking to it.
Yes, things are intense now, Bart.
I don't know. No,
Very
you,
intense.
you,
Yeah.
you just released a book. I
Right.
love the title, and I'm curious about how the heck you chose it. I'll say it: The Years of Living Dangerously, Lessons from the Front Lines of a 21st Century Light Worker. Living Dangerously. I love it.
I I that film, The Years of Living Dangerously by Peter
Mhm.
Weir, the Australian director, with Mel
Oh, yeah.
Gibson, Sigourney Weaver. That was out years ago. I loved that film. And I thought, well, I could just drop or add an S to it because that film was The Year of Living Dangerously. So I added an S because the danger to me refers to my experiences where I received a lot of pushback, let's call it pushback, setbacks, obstacles. Beyond that, people could say attacks, from the amorphous anti-forces, which are called principalities in the Bible. I mean, they're principalities, they're archon, whatever. But because we live on a duality plane, we have light and dark, right? We have the male and the female, and
Hmm.
we have the sacred and the sensual, and heaven and earth, and it goes on. Our experience is defined. We came to master the duality experiment. So when you work so much with the light and in a public way, which you do also, Bart, and I'm sure you've experienced this, you get pushback from whatever. It could be just, unseen, from the unseen realm, pushback, because where there is light, there's also the opposite that wants to stop you or block you. So I go into a lot of crazy, hair-raising experiences, and how I got through them, leading groups to these sites. And some of the things in there, I have a little qualifier at the front that people must have a willing suspension of disbelief, because it will seem like so many things are too outlandish. But I swear they actually happened to me.
They haven't gone to enough sacred sites, obviously.
no, 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 it's not. I don't know, but it could be plus it's the group energy too that comes along with you. And I just thought, I can't keep all this to myself. I have to share it. And
Mm,
especially the miracles, they were the most fun things to write about. All the miracles, you could say everyone goes through adversity. And how do we get through it? Would be, this is my experience, but not everyone does the work I do, nor do they have to. And whatever your listeners are doing in the world is equally important. And what we all have a role to play in this planetary evolution.
yeah. So writing this book was all about following your heart.
Yes, yes,
Yep.
Bart.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. And not stopping, even though there were many times I wanted to stop.
We had a question from Phyllis Mim.
Yes.
She's a Francophile, by the way.
Oh, good.
Any power sites on the eastern coast, United States?
Okay. Well, I having lived in New York City, and people are always shocked when I say this, but I do feel that New York City, Manhattan in particular, is a sacred site. When you think about why are so many people drawn to that nexus, right? Because New York City is built on a bed of granite. And you see all those granite rocks in Central Park and everywhere. There are huge granite boulders, and granite, after many, many years of pressure in the earth, becomes diamond like. It becomes a crystal. So you could say that New York City is built on a bed of crystals, which would make sense why so many people are drawn there. And even though it is, a crazy place, and it was time for me to leave, but I do feel that it's a major light hub of the new earth, just like the south of France where you live, a major light hub. The sacred sites of Avalon in southwest England, huge. Mount Shasta, Sedona. Where else on the East Coast? Well, I haven't been there, but Cahokia Mounds in Ohio is supposedly a very powerful place. Have you been, Bart?
I
I can't.
haven't. I've heard the same though.
Yeah, so I'd like to go there, but I do feel that let's call them power places, because again, everything is sacred, right? And I can tell you why these are called sacred sites if you want me to, but the power places I think are mostly out west in the
Yeah.
US.
Yeah. Any more in the Western United States that we've missed?
Okay, so we have where I live, Taos, northern New Mexico, not just Taos, but we do have a Taos vortex that is palpable, which is connected. I have tuned into the Dragon Line, connected on the Dragon Line, well, to Palenque, but that's in Mexico, where I've also been, and then up to Mount Shasta. And then there are the Grand Tetons, which are connected in a horizontal ley line to Mount Shasta, but there's so many ley lines coming into the Tetons, like in a radial formation, which is why it's powerful. And Sedona, and those are the main ones. So what do you have any others?
Well, I'm curious if you have any reflection on Utah, the
Yes.
southern part of Utah, and gosh, where also in the northeastern side, where there's a lot of art or ancient art or
Ancient art. Okay, yes, the Four Corners is very powerful. Zion National Park in that area, I feel, is extremely powerful. I'm not sure about the ley lines that go in there, but I'm sure there are, because I could feel the earth energy there. And there is a lot of selenite crystal in that area of Utah. It's everywhere, like huge slabs. Selenite supposed to be connecting us through our crowns to the cosmos. It's a new earth stone. So yes, I feel that whole Four Corners area, and the Grand Canyon too, actually, because there was I don't know if you remember, years ago, it was reported that some Egyptian artifacts were found in the Grand Canyon.
What?
Isn't that
I hadn't
wild?
heard.
Yeah. And so I thought, well, these ancient peoples, however they traveled in their spaceships, or maybe they bilocated, they were everywhere.
Well, there is a theory that there's, we think about Shasta and Pic de Bogarash and Palenque and as being stargates, but then
Yes.
there's another stardate system where you teleport, and those are starting to become recognized. Chateau de Montségur is one of them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's part of the Grand Canyon, and I'm sure you would have those in Egypt. So maybe they were traveling that way as well.
Yes, exactly. I do agree with that, Bart. Yeah. Traveling through the stargates, through wormholes, or whatever word they use. And
Yeah.
yes. And I feel that there are new sacred sites revealing themselves to us all the time, some that we haven't even discovered yet.
The vibration's changing on the planet as we speak.
Yes, it is.
So So you never know what's going to start popping up
Right.
in people's lives.
Right. And
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm sure, well, you're in the south of France, so you visit these sites over and over again in the south of France. And have you
Correct.
noticed, like when I go back to some of the same sites, they're at an even higher frequency. They're also,
Well,
evolving.
and that brings up the controversy. Well, am I tuning in like I'm tuned up more, or is
Um,
it the site itself? Uh, all of these questions seem to arise.
yeah,
Maybe we're all evolving together,
yeah,
because it's true. I've gone to some of these places 70 to 100 times.
right.
Uh, this is what I do instead of television, is I go to sacred sites.
Right, right.
And it keeps expanding and growing. Um, different parts of my body activate with them. It's
Um,
beginning to start to see that there's more parts of my body that are extremely expanded than I ever realized.
right. It's almost like the sacred site reflects that to you.
Well, it gives it a different energy,
Uh-huh.
and you never know what's going to get activated. You just have to pay attention.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
true.
it's so wonderful. And from one of the things that as I read your work, you're a really awesome writer and you explain this stuff well. Is there any like progression that went from being the writer to being the mystic? Like, because you're, you're, tr- it looks like you're bridging that gap, which the mystic is a hard animal to describe.
Yes. Yes. Very good point, Bart. I feel that yes, I have bridged that. It's my that inner urgency that I'm sure you felt to continue to grow and expand and to constantly walk the edge of who we know ourselves to be. I called that my discomfort zone. Like I'd always put myself
Mhm.
in a discomfort zone, right? Because I had to grow, even
Mhm.
though I might not have wanted to or whatever. So I, and so that always took precedence, my inner
Mhm.
journey and my skill. It was, we all have our gifts, and my skill as a writer, it was it's a blessing because I can share it, my inner journey in that way. So it felt especially when I moved to Taos, which really nurtured my creativity in a different way than New York. New York also did, but that
Mhm.
New York was very, uh, it was extremely intense. And this is a softer, more feminine energy here. So I felt that the two came together when I moved here, like really wove together
Mhm.
in a very deep way when I moved here. And that
So,
was the year that Sojourns of the Soul came out.
so I got to ask, this might be too provocative, but we just got a minute left. So
Sure.
how did it change your womb space going from New York to Taos?
Mm. Oh, no one's ever asked me. I love that question.
It's
Uh,
it's not a line I would use in a bar. No.
well, what is coming to me immediately is in New York, I felt like I was creating from the solar plexus, my center of, personal power, and on the spiritual path in alignment with divine will and power. Here, I feel like I am creating from the sacral, from the womb, because I'm so much closer to the earth. I felt like there was a disconnect in New York where, yes, the womb space was there, but I was accessing the solar plexus more. And maybe that was a survival mode to live and succeed in that city. Whereas when I moved here, it's almost like I could just let go and sink in to the sacral and the womb. And I do feel much more grounded in my body and much more present here than I was in New York, for
Mm,
sure. Because I
mm.
was in my head a lot. I was a
Yeah.
writer, right? I was a journalist, but now I've been able to drop out of here into the heart much
I
more
love that.
easily.
I love that. I love that answer. And we're coming to the end of the show. You've been listening to Dana Micucci at danamicucci.com. Her new book, The Year of Living Dangerously, is out there. And you can find it on our website and other places. Also does tours. My name is Bart Sharp, and you are on Becoming Quantum Conscious at United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network. Thanks so much for being on the show, Dana.
Thank you, Bart. It was a joy. Thank you so much.
All right. All right. Y'all take care. We'll see y'all next week.